Hello future engineers, subscribers, viewers, and students. Here is Strength of Materials 1 Part 2. And in this part, I'll present more sample problems in the preliminary part of Mechanics of Materials. So we have here problem 4. The rigid bar AB of negligible weight is supported by a pin at O. When the two steel rods are attached to the ends of the bar, there is a gap delta which is equal to 5 mm. So between the lower end of the left rod and its pin support at C. The cross-sectional areas are 250 mm square for rod AC and 300 mm square for rod BD. Using modulus of elasticity E of 200 gigapascals, compute the stress in the left rod when the right rod is rigid. The stress in the left rod considering the right rod as made of steel, and the final length of the left rod when it reaches the support C. So this is the figure, and this bar here is rigid except for these rods here. But for the first part, this right rod is also rigid. So the problem asks for the stress in the left rod when the right rod is rigid. So that if the right rod is rigid and this bar is also rigid, when the left bar is stretched to reach point C, the bar here, the rigid bar, remains horizontal because this right rod BD will still be undeformed. So therefore, because delta is 5 mm, that's also the deflection of this rod AC here. So the distance known, and for the solution, the idea is you have here the FBD, then this is the force in AC, and this is the force in BD. And the reaction at the pin support RO, and this is the concept because both bars AOB and BD are rigid, the deflection for rod AC, bar AC, would be delta, which is 5 mm. And 5 mm is equal to stress in rod AC times length in rod AC, which is 1995, 2000 mm minus 5 mm, 1995, then divided by modulus of elasticity of rod AC, which is equal to 200 gigapascals or 200,000 megapascals in this problem. So substituting 5 equals stress in AC 1995 mm, length of AC 2000 minus 5 mm, divided by modulus of elasticity 200,000. So from here, we can solve stress in AC, normal stress in AC, which is equal to 501.5 megapascals. So for the second part, the right rod is now made of steel, so it is an elastic material. So the deformation in the left rod is no longer 5 mm, it is less than 5 mm. And this will be the deflected shape of the whole system. So because this is pushed or pulled downward, this one will rise, the right rod will stretch as shown in the figure, but this horizontal bar remains rigid. So they are subjected to tension, and the deflected shape, it still passes through the spin here. This is the deflection in the, I'll call this downward movement of the left point where AC is attached, and stretching of the right. This is automatic, the deflection of BD, whereas this one is not automatic, the deflection of BD, because remember there is a gap of 5 mm in AC. So when this reaches the pin here, that means this entire deflection consists of the deflection due to the stretching of AC plus certain amount equals 5 mm. So that's the reaction. This is delta A, and delta A as to 0.75 equals delta BD as to 1.5. So from there, we can relate the two. So delta A equals 0.5 of delta BD. And since delta A plus delta AC, so the stretching of AC plus delta A should be equal to 5 mm. So delta A plus the stretching of this AC here should be equal to 5 mm, so that the other end of the bar will reach the point here. And delta A is in terms of delta BD 0.5. So this is stress in A, length in A divided by E of this member. Then delta BD, deflection in BD, is force in BD, length of BD, which is 2000 mm, divided by, or this is stress in BD, length of BD divided by E of BD, which is common for the two because the two bars are made of steel. So substitute into this equation 0.5 of deflection of BD plus deflection of AC equals 5. So factor out 0.5 and call this stress in BD times length, which is 2000 in BD, over modulus of elasticity plus stress in AC, length of AC. Remember, length of AC is only 1995 over E equals 5 mm from this equation here. So call this equation 1. Simplifying, 0.005 of stress of BD, normal stress in BD, plus 0.009975 stress in AC equals 5. Summation of moment about O equals 0. So that means force in AC times 0.75 equals force in BD times 1.5. And since stress is force over area, so that's the equation. So force in AC equals 2 times force in BD. So since force equals stress times area, so this is stress in AC, area in AC to 50 mm square, equals 2 times stress in BD times area in BD, 300 square. So from there, we can relate or express stress in BD in terms of stress in AC, and that is 5 over 12 stress in AC. We then substitute that into equation 1. So 0.005 times stress in BD, which is 5 over 12 stress in AC, plus 0.009975 stress in AC equals 5. So from here, we can now solve for stress in AC in megapascals, and it is equal to 414.7 megapascals. Now for the final length of AC, we have to compute delta A and delta AC. So the length can now be found. So the final length LAC equals 1995 plus the deformation in AC. So 1995 times the deformation in AC. Originally, it is 1995 mm, then plus the deflection in AC due to the stress in AC. Since stress in AC has been found, the deflection is simply stress, length in AC divided by E. So length in AC final is 1995, stress 414.7, length 1995 divided by modulus of elasticity. So LAC is equal to 1999.14 mm. So for this next problem, this is about uh, the involvement of thermal stresses. So we have here the composite bar shown is firmly attached to unyielding supports. An axial load P of 200 kilonewtons applied at C towards A at 20 degrees Celsius. So find the stress of segment 1 at 60 degrees Celsius in megapascals. Find the stress of segment 2 at 60 degrees Celsius in megapascals and determine the temperature in degrees Celsius corresponding to equal stresses in segments 1 and 2. So for the solution, by the way, the figure is given as well as the uh, properties of materials in this case. So we have segment 1, the coefficient of thermal expansion 11.7 times 10 to the negative 6 per degree Celsius, modulus of elasticity, and area. So this is still segment 2, 23 times 10 to the negative 6, the alpha or beta, but I use beta to easily recall the formula, balat. Then E is 70 gigapascals, area is 900 mm square. This may be bronze or aluminum, you know. Anyway, but that's made of different material. Segment 1 is definitely steel. For the solution, so we have to draw the diagram and allow the body, the segment to elongate or contract. So first we draw lines to locate segment 2 first, and this is the applied load P here of 200 kilonewtons, which is applied at C towards A at 20 degrees Celsius. So because of that load, it will stretch as shown. So that's the initial level. Then we will call the reaction here as R. And since this is the initial level, we allow it to expand as shown. And this is the final end due to contraction and due to P. And we will call that delta T sub 2 due to temperature. Then we have here a restoring force, which is compression, which is also R. If you draw the FDD, if the reaction here is R, so that force in segment 2 should be in that direction. So as a result, it will deflect back, but not beyond this because the force P is causing the segment 2 to elongate further. And because of that reaction with this compression, it will go back to this level here, and we call that the final level of segment 2. From this final level of segment 2, this uh, deflection from final end after we allow it to expand from this position to that position, that is denoted as uh, deformation due to stress. So I'll call that deformation due to stress, so that is delta 2. Then from this position here to that position, because this is the final supposedly level of segment 1, and because of the compressive effect of this reaction, this is now the final level, and we allow it to expand further first. This is the expansion due to temperature. So that is denoted by delta T sub 1. That's due to temperature. And from this end to this final level here, this is deformation due to stress in segment 1 as shown. So therefore, this reaction here is equal to R plus P, which is 200,000 newtons, so that this will be compressed to this final level here, and therefore that is also R plus 200, and this deflection is delta 1. So delta 1 is just due to stress of segment 1. So from the figure we have delta T2 minus delta 2 equals delta 1 minus delta T1. So this is the final deflection that we want to formulate. Delta T2 minus delta 2 equals this. And this is also equal to delta 1 minus delta T1. So delta T2 minus delta 2 equals delta 1 minus delta T1. So the principle, remember, is from the initial level of the bar, we allow it to either expand or contract. So in this case, we allow it to expand like that way. So it pushes segment 1, and because it pushes segment 1, the type of stress that will develop is compression. So it will expand first freely as if there is no segment 1 there, and it will go back partially to this level, not beyond this of course, because this is the stress due to this is the reaction rather, which is equal to R, and of course it is prevented from continuing growing or elongating because of the presence of segment 1, so it will go back to that level. So that's why this is the stress due to the contraction of this portion of the member. So this is also the final level for segment 1, but before that, because this is the initial level of this junction here, initial level also. So like segment 1, we allow it first to expand, then after expanding, because this is the final level of the junction for segment 1, that's also the final level of the junction of segment 2. So that's why this whole deformation is the deformation due to stress of segment 1, and this is the deformation due to the expansion of segment 1. And this is now the formula that we can formulate. Delta T2 is beta of segment 2, length of segment 2, which is 200 rather, then delta T, then minus delta 2. Delta 2 is simply stress of segment 1, because this is segment 1, length of segment stress of segment 2 rather, times length of segment 2, which is 200, divided by modulus of elasticity of segment 2. Then times 200 times delta T, which is delta T is 40, where 40 is equal to final temperature minus initial temperature 20, so that's why we have 40 here. Then minus stress in segment 2, which is reaction or axial force in segment 2, which is R, length 200, divided by area of segment 2, 900 mm squared, then modulus of elasticity 70,000 megapascals. So deflection mm, force in newtons, then modulus of elasticity in megapascals. Then equals delta 1. Delta 1 is force R plus 200,000. Length of segment 1 is 300. Area of segment 1, 1,200. E of segment 1, 200,000. So delta 1 again is force R plus 200,000. Length is 300 over area 1,200, E 200,000. Minus delta T1, which is coefficient of thermal expansion of segment 1. Length of segment 1, 300. Then delta T, which is 60 minus 20, so 40. Simplifying each term, so 0.184 minus R over 315,000 equals R over, expand, R times 300 over this is R over 800,000, then 300 times 200,000 over, cancel 200,000, so 300 over 1,200 is 1/4. Then negative 11.7 times 10 to the negative 6 times 300 times 40 is 0.1404. So from there, we can now solve for R, and R is equal to 168 or 16,815 newtons. Having known the value of R, we can now compute the stress of segment 1, which is this R plus 200,000 over area 1,200. Segment 2, stress of segment 2 is R over area of segment 2, which is 900. So it is equal to, so this is the answer to question number 2, 18.68 megapascals compression. So it's compression here. Then stress in segment 1 is R plus 200,000 over 1,200. And that is equal to 180.7 megapascals. Then for the third question, the temperature in degrees Celsius corresponding to equal stresses in segment 1 and 2. So take note that both are in compression, and the stress in segment 1 is too high compression. Therefore, for the two to be more or less equal, because we have equal stresses here, so that means that so that segment 2 will be in tension because it is very close to tension. We just leave at ease segment 1 to be in compression because it's very high. So for segment 2 to be in tension, the final temperature should be low or it should contract. So that's the idea. So that the force in segment 2 will be in tension as shown here. So that's the original level, initial level. Then this should be the reaction, which is now tensile, will make segment 2 to be in tension. Remember, its stress is 18 point something megapascals compression, so it's very close to zero stress. So that's why it is only possible that the two stresses will be the same if segment 2 will be in tension. So that if it is in tension, segment 1 will be reduced, its stress will be reduced. It is still in compression, so that the two will have a big possibility that the stresses will be equal. So because segment 2 will now be in tension, the temperature should drop so that it will contract. This is now the level when segment 2 is allowed to contract. So that is delta T2. Then similarly for segment, due to stress, it will elongate further by this much, and that is due to the stress in segment 2. So this is the final stress level of the end C. So we should also start from the initial level, allow segment 1 to elongate. So this is delta 2. From this position to that position, it will stretch to that level. That's the final level. And originally, this is segment 1. We also allow it to contract a little. So it will contract by that much. So that's due to temperature change in segment 1. And it will deflect further so that it will coincide with this final level of segment 2. And this deformation is due to stress of segment 1. This is now the force, which is 200,000 minus R1 because R1 is in tension. And this is due to stress in segment 1. That much. It should align with that. So that is delta 1. So the equation now would be, we equate this, so delta 2 minus delta T2 equals delta T1 plus delta 1. So stress in 1, which is still in compression, should be stress in segment 2, which is now in tension. So for the force in segment 1, it is 200,000 minus R1 over area 1,200. Then for segment 2, it is tension R1 over area of segment 2, which is 900. So from here, we can solve R1. So 200 over 1,200 equals R1 times quantity 1 over 900 plus 1 over 1,200. So R1 is equal to 85,714 newtons. Having known that, we can now set up this equation that delta 2 minus delta T2 equals delta T1 plus delta 1. So delta 2 minus delta T2 equals delta 1 plus delta T1. So delta 2 is stress in or force in segment 2, which is R1, length 200 over area E. Then this is coefficient of thermal expansion of segment 2, 23 something. Length, beta, balat, so, times delta T. And delta 1 is force in segment 1 divided by area, stress in segment 1, length over area. So this is the force in, this is delta 2, so R1, 85,714 times length of segment 2, 200, area 900, 70,000 megapascals, E of segment 2, minus delta T2, coefficient of thermal expansion, 23 times 10 to the negative 6, length of segment 2, 200, then delta T, then equals force in segment 1, which is 200,000 minus R1, length 300, area 1,200, E 200,000 megapascals, plus coefficient of thermal expansion of segment 1, 11.7 times 10 to the negative 6, length 300, then delta T. So we have delta T here as a known. So simplifying, first term, that's the second term, and this is the term, this is the first term, then this is the first term from the right side transposed to the left, so it's negative. Then this one transposed to the right combined with 11.7 times 10 to the negative 6 times 300 delta T. So that's the combined value. From here, we can solve for delta T. And delta T is 15.94 degrees Celsius. So it is a drop as expected in temperature. So therefore, the final temperature is equal to, or initial minus, or final temperature minus initial equals negative 15.94 degrees Celsius, because it should be a drop. So that's why this is treated negative, so that segment 2 will be in tension. So if it contracts, the segment 2 will be experiencing tensile stress. So the final temperature is positive 4.06 degrees Celsius. So that's it for that problem. Problem 9. A sheet of copper is stretched biaxially in the xy plane. If the strains in the sheet are strain in x 5 times 10 to the negative 4 and strain in y 2.5 times 10 to the negative 4, using modulus of elasticity of 110 megapascals and Poisson's ratio 0.35, determine the value of number 1, the shear modulus G, number 2, the normal stress along X, and number 3, normal stress sub Y. So for shear modulus G, remember the relationship 2 give 2 times quantity, 2 times G times quantity 1 plus Poisson's ratio equals E. So that's the relationship, so that you cannot forget it. Substitute G unknown, 2G times quantity 1 plus 0.35 equals 110 gigapascals. So in gigapascals, G is equal to 40.74 gigapascals. Now for part 2, normal stress sub X, this is quantity strain in X, if you can remember, plus Poisson's ratio strain in Y times modulus of elasticity E all over 1 minus V square, which is derived under uniaxial, biaxial, and triaxial loading. You just go over there, and if you want, you derive the formula again, but it will take time. So sigma x equals quantity strain in X plus Poisson's ratio strain Y E over 1 minus Poisson's ratio square. Substitute, everything is known. So sigma x equals 5 times 10 to the negative 4 plus 0.35 times 2.5 times 10 to the negative 4, 110,000 megapascals E, so that the result is megapascals, divided by 1 minus Poisson's ratio 0.35 square. Solving for the stress, it is equal to 73.65 megapascals. Since it is positive, it is tension. Then for sigma y, we just pattern this formula. So it is quantity strain y plus Poisson's ratio strain x close times E over 1 minus V square. So sigma y equals quantity strain y plus Poisson's ratio strain x E over 1 minus V square. Substitute. So sigma y is 2.5 times 10 to the negative 4 plus 0.35 times 5 times 10 to the negative 4, 110,000 over 1 minus 0.35 square. So sigma y is equal to 53.28 megapascals. megapascals, also in tension. Then that's it for that problem. So let's proceed to the last problem in this video. The curved solid circular rod 75 mm in diameter is fixed to the wall at B. If P is 8 kilonewtons and theta is 36 degrees, determine the following average stresses: normal stress at section A, shear stress at section A, and bending stress at section A. If R is 1.2 meters, radius of the rod. So this is the figure, and we have to draw the internal forces at A. So we have NA, it should be up to the left because the load is down to counter it. Then shear is up to the right to counter the downward direction of the load. Then moment is counterclockwise because the moment of this load about this section A is clockwise. So take note that that distance is, this is R 1.2 cosine of 36 degrees. So moment at A is equal to summation moment section A. So moment A counterclockwise equals clockwise. So the moment arm of this 8 kilonewton load is 8 times 1.2 minus this 1.2 cosine of 36, and that moment is equal to 1.8334 kilonewton meter. So we'll just ready that for question number 3, bending stress at section A. So summation of moment about O equals 0, NA times R, which is 1.2, equals load 8 times 1.2. So NA times 1.2 plus moment, which is counterclockwise 1.8334, equals 8 times 1.2. So NA is equal to 6.472 kilonewtons, or 6,472 newtons. Divide that by the area, which is pi 37.5 mm quantity square, the radius of the rod, circular solid rod, and we get the average normal stress, which is tension in section A. So sigma A, 6,472 newtons over pi 37.5 square. So normal stress at A is 1.465 megapascals. For shear stress, imagine that P is transferred here. So we just sum up forces along the axis or along the direction of VA. So VA is equal to 8. This angle is 90 minus theta. 90 minus 3654. So that is 8 cosine of 54, the shear at A. So shear at A is 8 cosine of 54 degrees. So the normal stress or the shear stress at A is 8,000 Newton sine of 54 divided by pi 37.5 square. So 8,000 cosine of 54 divided by pi 37.5 square. Solving for shear stress, 1.064 megapascals. Finally, bending stress at A is moment Y, which is radius here, over moment of inertia of circular section. So shear stress, bending stress at B, section A, moment R over I is pi R to the fourth over 4. Therefore, the direct bending stress formula for circular section maximum is 4 times moment over pi R cubed. So that's the formula. Substitute. We express moment in Newton mm by multiplying this moment 1.8334 by 1000 square, then divided by pi times 37.5 cube. So the result will be in megapascals, and that is equal to for 4.27 megapascals. So that's it for this video.